The Fearless Podcast, in a time of deceit, telling the truth, is a revolutionary act. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Fearless Podcast, episode 63.
Episode 63, and we are doing this for the second time now.
And practice makes perfect, y'all.
Hey.
And I practiced reading today
for 30 minutes straight. So we're going to go ahead and try this again.
We had some
tech demons.
Our normal tech demons that are on the daemon, which if any of you coders out there, which I am not, you'll get the daemon reference. And it is interesting where the word demon came from and the whole daemon jargon. And a lot of this stuff is pretty much from the pits of hell. But we're going to use it for the good that we can use it for.
So what are we going to be covering in today's podcast? Just give me the list of everything we're going to be going through.
I wanted to cover two topics. The main topic was I wanted to ask the question. Is Bitcoin killing you? Bum, bum, bum.
Uh-oh.
So that should be interesting. So stay tuned.
What's the next one?
And then the next one was a circling back, like Jen Psaki wanted to circle back on the Trump assassination to cover just a really quick soundbite on that I thought was very interesting and that I just heard immediately before we started the previous podcast 30 to 40 minutes ago.
How the narrative just keeps changing and changing and
continues to morph in real time.
I think with this, but this time though, there were so many people there recording everything. It's making it really, really tricky.
Well, I'm gonna lay a new theory on you, even when it comes to that. If I can remember,
you want to write it down?
Write that down.
Okay,
let's go.
But yeah. So anyway, while you're doing that, everything's been doing good on the farm. We'll have a farm check too. But also later in the video, we will be talking about the local beef pickup. So stay tuned for that. If you are in the Northeast Texas area, we'll give you the whole rundown on that later in the episode.
That sounds great. So first, what I'll do is I'm going to bring up the article. I'm going to link this article down below. This is a Time magazine article. It was originally published on July 8th. And then some parts of it were updated on July 16th, because now in journalism, you no longer have to retract things or apologize. You can just edit in real time, and then you can make it look like you were always right. And I'm not saying, I have no idea what was done here, but this is a new postmodern trend in post-truth America when it comes to journalism and to print. They no longer have to.
They probably used ChatGPT and it did some false junk in there, so they had to go back in and edit it. Though it could be something.
Well, there's a lot of that going on too.
Oh yeah,
there's very little writing or journalism or even thought anymore.
Sadly,
in postmodern, post-truth,
clown
Western
world, clown world 3.0.
3.0
shirt coming out very soon.
We do have a new beef T-shirt coming out.
Yeah. Has the Texas flag inside, beef on a steer, which is like super cool. And then I'm going to actually edit that and just either put like shake a rancher's hand or know your rancher, something like that on the bottom of it.
Sounds great. It's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
All good advice. All good advice.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay, so on an evening in December 2023, 43-year-old small business owner Sarah Rosenkrantz collapsed in her home in Granbury, Texas. Another reason why I found this article fascinating, it originates in Texas, which we're in Texas.
Yeah.
Articles in Texas. And it references the historic town of Granbury. So maybe, Matt, y'all have been to Granbury.
Yeah, and we went to the super awesome courthouse there, which is made out of like limestone, I'm pretty sure. And we actually, it was so awesome. Okay, so we're looking at this super sweet ancient courthouse, which had some super sweet Civil War monuments there that haven't been torn down by crazy purple-haired
Wow.
people that work at Starbucks.
Really?
And yeah, and so we were reading them and everything like that. And the sheriff of Granbury comes up and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And he was a super cool guy, all cowboyed up, with his felt hat and everything like that. And we were all cowboyed up and everything like that. And he's like, "Oh, come on in." And he showed us his office and the ancient courtroom that was in like the second or third story of the place. It was so cool. I think we even got a tour of like the little jail that they used to have in there too. It was really, really cool.
There's also substantial, I can't recall it off the top of my head. There's substantial Texas history that occurred there.
Yes, but it's slipping away from me right now. But yeah, I don't know if that was like one of the first courthouses in Texas.
Something to
I
that
don't,
effect, yeah.
don't. Yeah, but anyway, something like that.
Yeah, so let's get back to the topic at hand. But yeah, so Matt and I think all y'all, I don't think I was there that day.
Mm-mm.
Y'all got
No.
to go to Granbury. You got to meet
Yeah.
the county sheriff.
And none of this
whatever.
crap was happening, at least when we were walking around there. I don't know what year that would have been, though. Maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah, so it'd probably be
Or so.
before this
Yeah.
occurred. But
Yeah, there was no buzzing or anything crazy happening.
so Sarah Rosenkrantz collapsed in her home in Granbury, Texas, and was rushed to the emergency room. Her heart pounded 200 beats per minute. Her blood pressure spiked into hypertensive crisis. Her skull throbbed. It felt like my head was in a pressure vice being crushed, she says. The pain was worse than childbirth. Wow. Rosenkrantz migraine lasted for 5 days. Doctors gave her several rounds of IV meds and painkiller shots, but nothing seemed to knock down the pain, she said. This was odd, especially because local doctors were similarly vexed when Indigo, Rosenkrantz's 5-year-old daughter, was taken to urgent care earlier that year, screaming that she felt a red beam behind her eardrums. It didn't occur to Sarah that these symptoms could be linked. But in January of 2024, she walked into a town hall in Granbury and found a room full of people worn thin from strange, debilitating illnesses. A mother said her 8-year-old daughter was losing her hearing and fluids were leaking from her ears. Several women said they experienced fainting spells, included while driving on the highway. Others said that they were racked by debilitating vertigo and nausea, waking up in the middle of the night mid-vomit. Wowzers. None of them knew what exactly was causing these symptoms, but they all shared a singular grievance. A dull, aural hum had crept into their lives, which growled or roared depending on the time of day, rattling their windows and rendering them unable to sleep. The hum, local law enforcement had learned, was emanating from a Bitcoin mining facility that had recently moved into the area and was exceeding legal noise ordinances on a daily basis. Now, another thing that I wanted to point out about this Bitcoining mining facility is that in addition to these Bitcoining mining facilities, there are also data centers that are creating these exact same issues. Other issues that both of these types of facilities are creating are cooling issues and coolant, where they're redirecting municipal water supplies and different things, creating
That's even bigger than Bitcoin.
water shortages. And then they're using enormous amounts of power, and they're also robbing the local community of power, and they're creating brownouts and all these other issues that they're creating for people that are trying to live their life. Okay. Over the course of several months in 2024, Time spoke to more than 40 people in the Granbury area who had reported a medical ailment that they believe is connected to the arrival of the Bitcoin mine: hypertension, heart palpitations, chest pain, vertigo, tinnitus, migraines, panic attacks. At least 10 people went to urgent care or the emergency room with these symptoms. The development of large-scale Bitcoin mines and data centers is quite new. So this is a lot like seed oils, y'all. Seed oils are very new. They're this new thing that's occurred in the last 100 years. We do not know
Same with Ozempic.
what the long-term side effects are. Do you know, speaking of Ozempic?
Wait a second. I think we have 1 second. Where is it? Dude, do we not have it on here? Oh, here it is. All right. The more you know. Go ahead.
Ozempic is now the most prescribed prescription in America.
No way.
Welcome to America. You no longer need to eat right. You no longer need to diet and exercise.
Oh, no.
All you need is
take the pill.
You've been lacking Ozempic.
Is it a pill or a shot?
It's a shot.
Ugh, of course.
And you shoot yourself in the tummy.
Do you do it yourself or does the doctor do it?
I think you do it yourself because I think you got to do it every day.
No.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, they used to people with heroin. Oh my goodness, what in the world? Now people are giving themselves shots.
Well, what's the other thing that they do? The surgery to your stomach? I always forget.
A gastral sleeve.
And there's so much dude, a heavy duty keto or a carnivore diet fixes that piece of cake easy.
No, it's way too that takes way too much time. I would just rather have
a
mesh sleeve pulled over my tummy.
We are not doctors, and this is a comedy show, and this is all comedy. And yeah, we are not doctors.
Thank you for the public service announcement.
Consult your doctors.
Consult your doctor, and then do the opposite of whatever he tells you, and you'll probably survive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So, let's see.
But this is a comedy show. So
there have been no major medical studies on the impacts of living near a Bitcoin mine or data center.
Well, duh.
But there is an increasing body of scientific studies linking prolonged exposure to noise pollution with cardiovascular damage. And one local doctor, ear, nose, and throat specialist, Salim Baloo, says he sees patients with symptoms potentially stemming from the Bitcoin mine's noise on almost a weekly basis. I'm sure it increases their cortisol and sugar levels, so you're getting headaches, vertigo, and it snowballs from there, Baloo says. This thing is definitely causing a tremendous amount of stress. Everyone is just miserable about it. Not all data centers make noise, and industry insiders say they have a technical fix for the ones that do, which involves replacing their facilities' loud air fans with much quieter liquid-based cooling solutions. But some of their touted methods, including immersion cooling in oil, are expensive and untested on a large scale. A representative for Marathon Digital Holdings, the company that owns the mine, did not answer questions about the health impacts, but told Time that it is working to remove the noisy fans from the site. By the end of 2024, we intend to have replaced the majority of air-cooled containers with immersion cooling, with no expansion required. Initial sound readings on immersion containers indicate favorable results in sound reduction and compliance with all relevant state noise ordinances, they wrote in an email. The number of commercial scale Bitcoin mining operations in the U.S. has increased sharply over the last few years. There are now at least 137 similar medical complaints have been registered near facilities in Arkansas and North Dakota. And the Bitcoin mining industry is urgently trying to push bills through state legislatures, including in Indiana and Missouri, which would exempt Bitcoin mines from local zoning or noise ordinances. In May, Oklahoma Governor Ken Stitt signed a Bitcoin rights bill to protect miners and prevent any future attempts to ban the industry. So now we see these lobbying groups manipulating the District of Criminals and all these bureaucratic legislative bodies to poison the people, and this is the postmodern problem with so-called capitalism, which is now public-private partnerships or crony capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And these public-private partnerships create total trash, and it destroys the citizenry. And we are poisoned, and we are left with the scraps, while the transnational mega corporations and their crony criminal district or criminal buddies were state legislators that they all payola and pay into the system and pay to play.
Yeah, all in bed with. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all in bed together and they all aggrandize themselves. And
Mhm.
here, Granny and the Rosencrantzes of the world reap the whirlwind of the
Mhm.
devastation of whether it's EMF pollution, dirty electricity, or
Yep.
whether it's dirty sound pollution,
Yep.
you know, and they have to put these facilities in rural areas. You know, they can't put them on the top of a skyscraper. You know
There
what I
you go.
mean? Like, who wants to listen to that crap? You know, people in the cities, they love listening to that noise all the time. They
Mhm.
can't go to sleep. So put it there. Why do they
Yeah.
need to pollute the rural landscapes with this
And we're not
trash?
against Bitcoin or anything like that.
No, I'm not
but-
against Bitcoin at all. I mean, this is obviously an issue. And I know, you know, pro Bitcoiners are going to say, oh, they're just trying to demonize Bitcoin.
Sure.
These are definite issues. There are power issues with Bitcoin. It takes an inordinate amount of power.
Yeah.
And there are
Incredible amount of
noise
power.
issues with Bitcoin. And these issues need to be addressed. They don't need to be just deregulated.
Yeah.
While some Granbury residents are fiercely protecting the mine, many others feel powerless to alter the will of the company with legal, political, and financial might. And the data center industry at large is only growing more dominant thanks to the twin forces of Bitcoin mining and AI, the latter which spends a vast amount of energy training generative models to find patterns in data sets. According to a recent report, all data centers will use 8% of total U.S. power by 2030, up from 3%. So they're going to use 5% more of the country's total power when we have a failing grid with a weaker electrical supply. Now that we're not using as much oil, gas, and coal because we want to go green and we want to use these great solar panels and wind farms that don't work. And then we want to plug in these electronic vehicles that are powered by gas and coal generation.
All these other substitutes are
so while
the
Bitcoin
byproducts
mines
that they make are so terrible
for
the
while
environment.
Bitcoin is going to consume more electric, while electric vehicles are going to consume more electric. Meanwhile, you know, we're going to convert everything to solar panels and to wind generators, which will produce less electric. It's creating a crisis. It's creating a power crisis.
And it's all planned too, because it's 2024. We have stinking technology to make green energy. You know, we do, period. I mean, the perfect example is, dude, if we put some turbines or whatever on every dam in America, the amount of power we could produce would be incredible, you know?
And
And
there's efficient ways to do this
Yeah.
stuff. They just refuse to do anything
Oh, yeah,
efficiently.
no. Yeah.
If operators continue to locate the centers near existing communities and prioritize profits above all else, then the story of Granbury could become the story of countless small towns across America. Granbury sits about an hour southwest of Fort Worth in Hood County, which houses mostly rural and Republican.
Those dirty rural
Republicans. There's
Republicans.
about 65,000 dirty Republicans there in Granbury. It's about a 15-minute drive south of Granbury's charming historic town center, which includes a 19th century opera house. Lies a glass plant called Wolf Hollow 2. Driving towards the plant on a windy pre-dawn morning in May, it rises out of the skies like an oil rig in a pitch black ocean, lights ablaze. But the glowing glass plant never caused substantial issues for the local residents. Rather, the problem started when Constellation Energy, which operates the plant, signed a deal in 2021 to power a new Bitcoin mining facility that would sit directly on its lot. The new facility consisted of 163 squat metal boxes resembling shipping containers, which house a total of 30,000 computers. These computers started running in the summer of 2022 and seemed to be switched on all day and night. As of December of 2023, the Granbury mine is owned by Marathon, one of the largest Bitcoin holders in the world, a transnational megacorporation, I am sure. The computers power a process called proof of work mining. Rather than relying on central bank or government agency, Bitcoin is created, maintained, and guarded by watchdogs around the world known as miners who prevent tampering through a complex cryptographic process and are rewarded with Bitcoin for doing so. Bitcoin's first supporters hoped that this new system would support a global digital currency that would bring freedom, financial fairness, and wealth to its adopters. But the system also requires an immense and ever-increasing amount of electricity. While Bitcoin's first miners were solo operators often working out of their bedrooms, the industry is now dominated by a handful of billion-dollar corporations who operate industrial-sized server farms across the globe. In the month of March of 2024 alone, the Bitcoin mining industry generated a record $2 billion in revenue in 1 month. That's the month of March. 2 billion. Wow. Much of the American Bitcoin mining industry can now be found in Texas, home of giant power plants, lax regulations.
Why can't it be California?
And crypto-friendly politicians.
I would really give a crap. Like, I would not care if they did all this crap in California. But, like, of course, like, yeah, let's pick Texas. Why
in
not?
October of 2021, Governor Greg Abbott hosted the lobbying group Texas Blockchain Council at the governor's
I dislike
mansion.
that guy deeply.
The group insisted that their industry would help the state's overtaxed energy grid. Okay, so we're going to bring a energy intensive product to the state of Texas, and somehow magically it's going to help our state's
Well, this genius hasn't had the best track record with managing our electrical grid at all. Because if you think, what was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah, and we still don't know the deal he made with
Snowmageddon. And he sold off a bunch of our electricity right before the snowstorm that he knew about. And then guess what? You know, we all went black here in Texas, and it was really bad.
Oh, but wait, here you go. So now you're going to find out how they're going to fix our
good. Yeah.
Our overtaxed energy grid. So during energy crisis, miners would be one of the few energy customers able to shut off upon request.
Oh,
it didn't say that they would. It said that they would be able to shut off upon request, provided that they were paid
the taxpayers
in exchange. After meeting with the lobbyist, Abbott tweeted that Texas would soon be the #1 state for blockchain and cryptocurrency. Thank you, Greg Abbott.
Turd.
We love you, buddy. You're
turd on wheels.
You're a great American.
Yeah, great politician.
The following month, the Commissioner's Court of Hood County approved the development of a cryptocurrency operation at Wolf Hollow. The owners promised local jobs and said that they would mostly use stranded energy that would otherwise go unused. So for all of y'all that aren't familiar with this stranded, now I don't know if this is like a play on words when they say stranded and they're talking about like copper wires and electrical wire.
I don't know.
When they're saying that they're going to use stranded, but this sounds like,
what does that mean?
A super con job to me.
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as stranded energy that goes unused. And if there was such a thing, how would they be able to reclaim it and use it if it's stranded? This sounds like a super con.
Yeah. Sounds like
if I've ever heard
propaganda.
One. But yeah, fascinating. But what we'll do, you should read these incredible. Here, let's go down to
Yeah,
Larry Potts.
Yeah, Larry
At
Potts.
first, residents responded to the intrusion by vacating their porches, retreating inside, and turning up their fans and air conditioners to the max. But many still felt tremors in their beds, including Larry Potts, a 77-year-old retired pastor who lives up the road from the plant. Potts says he stopped sleeping and started losing hearing in both ears. In February, his heart gave out after another sleepless night. He was rushed to the hospital and kept alive by an external pacemaker. There, he was diagnosed with third-degree uh, atrioventricular block,
Easy for you to say.
hypertension, and depression.
Mm.
I'm sick of this world and all this mess around here, he says. He told his wife that day, referring to the Bitcoin's mind noise. We moved out here for the peace and quiet, but this has made me want to go. Some nearby residents say they haven't been affected, but the number of strange medical emergencies in the area have piled up. In addition to Potts' discharge paper, Time reviewed medical records provided by several Granbury residents. Hospital notes from 72-year-old Geraldine Lathers, 3-day stay, documented new prescriptions for high blood pressure and vertigo. Jenna Hornbuckle, 38, lost hearing in her right ear and was diagnosed with heart failure, 38 years old. Ear exam document her hearing loss along with that of her 8-year-old daughter, Victoria, who contracted ear infections that forced doctors to place a tube in her ear. And Avari Burns, a 19-year-old cancer patient, says she suffered from crippling migraines at home, but whenever she went to Fort Worth Hospital for chemotherapy, the migraines subsided. So here you see a magnitude of people suffering from this Bitcoin mining plant that nobody signed up for. They moved in, and it's just wreaking havoc on people's health. And, they're going to eventually get around to doing something about it. But like I said, what I'll do is I will link this article down below for you to continue to read this. It is fascinating, and I wanted you all to. This is a lengthy article, and it's very interesting. And this is going to continue to become more and more of an issue as more and more of these mega mining sites open up, and as more of these data centers open up, like all of the surveillance states, like the Googles and all these different tech companies continue to store all this data that they're collecting on all of us. These issues are going to continue to be more pervasive. So I wanted to touch on that and make y'all aware of it and encourage you to move out into the country and try to select an area where they're not going to be doing this kind of stuff. That's what we did. And that doesn't mean that they couldn't park one in our backyard.
Yeah, that would stink.
That would kind of stink.
Big